Okay, so we'll continue here. Presentation. As we do remember, we stopped at the agile process, right? At that slide exactly. Last section, we did not finish the whole presentation. We have one more section for that. So we'll just do as much as we can here and we continue next section. The process here is comprised of these points: the sprint planning meeting, the sprint itself, the daily scrum, and the sprint review meeting. We have another meeting here that is not clear enough, which is called sprint retrospective meeting. Where is it? I think you can see it in here, in Scrum values, that image. You have sprint planning, daily scrum, sprint review, and sprint retrospective. It was not shown in the slides, but I have that image to clarify what I want. We'll try to open that Scrum book, which is in Arabic. I hope it's gonna open up. Could not open that before. And we have also the Scrum book of knowledge, which is, you know, details about everything you need and Scrum. Okay, as you can see, that link, I did not get that link. Who did this? Can you see? One of your colleagues last year, and the name is clear, as you can see in the video. Please do that. Help everyone else. Okay? So I think it's gonna be, oh, it's not there. That's odd. I think I'm going to look up for the new link for that Scrum book, Scrum body of, I just searched for it. This book. Okay. As soon as this one opens, I'll try to explain what it has, and it's open. It's cool. As you can see, it's not perfectly done. Some of the Arabic is just misaligned here. I don't know why, but it's good. I think it seems like a direct translation, right? And I hope it's not automated, because if so, it will be very odd. I think here language is not that bad, right? I think it looks cool. Of course, I will not be capable of telling you everything that's here, but it's Arabic. It's about 16 pages only. Wow. That's strange. I think it should be much bigger than that. But again, it's fine here. It's just gonna tell you things, how things are going. It has no images, which is not that good. It's all talk. It's whatever. Anyways, if you'd like, you can read that. It's good, but I don't think that's very good as well. I think that's this book. It's new. It's 2016. That's why we did not find the link. I'm gonna update it now. Here in this book, I think. It's been updated. I don't care about the source here, so I care about the link itself, right? Let's try to open it up again. By the way, that website, Scrum Study, they have an entry-level certificate which is free. Just learn what a Scrum is. So that's good. I think I have the link here. Free certificates. Yes, you can go there and do that Scrum Fundamentals search, and you'll get the certificate for it. So it's good. Get you an entry-level knowledge about that thing, about the whole thing. So it's going to be downloaded here, and I think it's much bigger than just 16 pages. It has more details to it. Anyways, let's continue here. So we have the process, the sprint planning meeting, and as you can see there's one missing meeting here, and it's not a big deal. So let's get started. First one, sprint planning meeting. It's a collaborative meeting in the beginning of each sprint between the product owner, the Scrum Master, and the team. As you can see, everyone in the project is included here. It takes about 8 hours and consists of 2 parts. I know most of you will not do the whole 8-hour thing, but as much as you can, of course. Okay? And of course, you may have lunch if you'd like. Just make one of you do that every time. Of course, none of you will do so. So just, anyways, a cup of water will be good. It's gonna be free. Let's continue here. So what does that sprint planning meeting consists of? They have 2 parts. The first one is about creating the product backlog, and how is that done exactly we'll see next slides. The second point is determining the sprint goal. What do you need to be done in that phase, in that sprint? As you may remember, the phases that I talked about in my project can be applied here. The main idea, what you can do in a sprint should be done, of course. Participants, as you can see, owner, Scrum Master, and Scrum team, which is in short everyone. The second part here is just about not everyone, just the Scrum Master and the Scrum team. The product owner is not involved in that part, as you can see. But just agree with him what you need to do in general and be added in the product backlog, but the team itself will choose what that can really be done in that sprint. Okay? And that's the sprint backlog. In general, what is a backlog? In general, what is a backlog? As I told you before, a log is a record of everything in general. And backlog here are the items or the features that need to be done. And these features are extracted from something we call user story. And the user story, as the name implies, is just the general talk about what he needs. Just in general. In public words, not in specific words. He doesn't say, I need that done in a SQL server or whatever technical knowledge that you would do. He doesn't care about that. He just needs a feature. As I would tell you, he needs that people can register for a service or buy something, or just in common words, as you can see. And that's a user story. And that's how would you extract, and that's the base that you would extract your backlog from. Okay? The art of converting this to that, I think would need some kind of reference for it. I think some of your colleagues last year did find some materials about that, but I don't remember where they have put that. I'll try to look it up. If any of you would see how to convert a user story into a backlog, some article or some video would tell or talk about that, to be good for everyone. Please post that if you can. But in general, you will read what he says and see how would that be done in terms of what you know as a software engineer. Okay? For example, he'd like to make people register for something. So you need what? A website, for example, or mobile application. Probably a website is going to be easier. You will see how that website will be done. The user, of course, need to register to do something like that. He needs to have an account. When he does have an account, then he can see if he's gonna buy something or do something. So that's a task. That's a task. Getting the user to have an account. How would that be done? Of course, there need to be a part in the database, user interface to show them what information that does the customer need to be stored for that profile. For example, he may need the email, probably. Most of the cases will need that email. He may need the telephone number, and you'd see if you'd like a specific format for that telephone number. Maybe you'd like just those Egyptians, not everyone from the world, from the whole world, only Egyptians. So you pose some rules to just specify how that number should look like. All right. For example, he may need to to make things easier for the users. So let's say password should be about only 6 letters or digits, whatever. It should not imply or enforce some kind of security here. No, make things easier. It would say that some of them would. Some of them would. The customers. Some would no, just do whatever you would like to make things secure. So you would make it a must to put an alphabetic character, just A to Z, a capital letter, a special letter. Some of them would just say yes, do that, and some of them would say no, make things easier for them. They're not that good, so make things easy, you know? Sometimes, yes. And especially in Arab countries, I would say, yes, yes. Do not complicate things for them. They're just so simple people here. Okay? So, that's something that they would just talk to you about, and they don't know the details. So you take that and make it items in your backlog. Okay? Get it? That's how, in general, a backlog would be done. But there are other important points in a backlog, items. In these items, you need to just have a weight. They need to have a weight. Wait for what? You need to have a number assigned to every item that says how much that item would take of an effort. How much time would it take to be accomplished? Why? So that we would have an indicator of saying how much time we need to have this item or to have this sprint finished. How much time do we need? Which is important. The point is, how are you going to estimate that effort? How? It's a bit hard, right? You'll see how we do that next slides. Before we forget that, as you can see that sprint meeting, there is one special form of sprint planning meeting, which is called pre-project or kickoff meeting. I think all of you have done something like that. Not efficiently enough, but there has to be some meeting to determine what you want from the whole project, right? Which is done before the beginning of a project. So all of you have done that, but not in a formal way. So please, you'll have to redo that so that you will create the backlog. Okay? Or if you'd like, you just consider that kickoff, no backlogs or something, and the first sprint that should start this week, the first sprint, you would begin forming that backlog, just like the example I told you about, and start registering that backlog as you would that we have shown before in the Trello way, if you'd like. There are other ways you can look up and search for other ways to make your backlog of Scrum. There are other websites if you'd like to use. But please, if you'd like to use that other website, let me be with you. I'd like to see that. And it should be shared between you and your team members, not only you. Okay? Okay? I think we're clear here. All right. So, the sprint itself, as we said before, it's about a month-long iteration from 2 to 4 weeks, which is about a month here, during which an increment of the product in functionality is done, as I told you before, and I think my example was clear enough, right? Would you like me to repeat it? I think we said that last week. You know, a website that just reads information, then next step that can write information. I think a new project you'll figure out how things should go. I cannot tell you how it's going. We have many project types here. So you have to determine that for yourself. I mean, as a team, not only one of you, as a team, you think of which features should be or can be done easily first, then upgrade it and increment the product into the final steps. Okay? And as I told you, it's not a must that you finish the whole project, but at least see how things should be done. Think that way. That's the important stuff here. And please write that down, not in a very complicated or time-consuming way, as you have seen, but just to make things go. Okay. Second point, which is very important here, and we said that before, no outside influence can interfere with the Scrum team during the sprint. No one, and I mean no one, can change the rule, which is very important. No changing rules inside that sprint. No one can quit or come in. Okay, none of the team members can quit or be in that part, and nothing from the product owner should not tell you to do this or that. Anything that he needs should be done where? At the beginning of the next sprint. If something comes up or a big change happens, no, he will not interfere with the people doing that job at that time, at the end of sprint. Okay? They must finish that feature that they're working on first. Then we'll do any other changes. Okay? Then the last point here, each sprint begins with a daily Scrum meeting. So what is a daily Scrum meeting? The daily Scrum meeting is a short, about 15 minutes long meeting which is held every day. Every single day, at the beginning of the day, you should have that daily Scrum meeting. And as you can see, it's just dedicated for those who have nothing but Scrum or nothing but software development, which is not in your case. As I said before, at least I need that to be done twice a week. At least. Twice a week. Starting this week. As you can see, you should start this sprint this week. Okay? So in total, if your sprint is going to take 4 weeks, maximum, and please try to make it lower than 4 weeks. Make it about 2 weeks or something. Okay? If it's going to be 4 weeks, no problem. Just plan your sprints in the table I have put for you in the notes, alright? For each sprint. Yes. And each sprint should bring some functionality to projects. So at least you should do at least one sprint with one functionality. I should see something, as I told before. Yes, you should not you cannot finish the whole product, but in the discussion we'll have at the last before or the practical exams, I should see something. See something. Hopefully I see, but at least something. A website, an application, something, even if it's not fully implemented. Okay? Participants here should be Scrum Master and Scrum Team, of course. It's about chicken and pigs. I'm not fully aware of what that means, but I think they means that probably there are going to be discussions in between. You're going to try to fight each other, what has been done or not. And as you can see here, every team member should answer these 3 questions, which are what? Let's see next slide. What did you do since the last Scrum? And what they mean by Scrum is what you have done today or that yesterday. Of course, what they mean here is yesterday. And the next question is, what are you going to do until the next Scrum? What they mean is Scrum meeting. What you're going to do until tomorrow. Okay? Of course you have to do something every day. If you're just dedicated for that work, what else are you going to be doing? As you can see here, it's my primary job to be a software engineer. What else am I going to be doing? Okay? You have to do something in the project you're assigned to. Every day, of course. Then how are you going to finish the project early and on time? Yes, you have to be doing something every day. Okay? Even if it's the same feature. Today I have resolved some issues. I have done something new. I fixed something. You have to be doing something. Right? Unless, of course, you have something that stopped you from doing what you should be doing, and you should say it as well. Either it's personal or not. What if the software you are using has expired? The license that the company was paying for has expired, so it must be renewed, for example. Or something happened to your office, or your gadgets, or your mobile phone, or your desktop. Anything could happen, right? You just have to say it. And the Scrum Master is responsible for fixing it for you to continue your job. right? So these are the 3 questions that has to be asked and has to be answered.
During the meeting.
Every day meeting for 15 minutes. So they should not fight or something, just say these. Because if you can see here, there are about 9 persons, as we have discussed before. If these 9 are going to talk too much, they will not finish in 15 minutes. 15 minutes means about 1 to 2 minutes maximum for each one, right? Yes, if they are less than 9. But if there are 9 to 10, it's going to be hard, right? So I think it's minimum 15 minutes, but it can be more. I think it's minimum to be 15 minutes. Okay, because of a small team. Okay, so these are the questions that I think in your notebook I have done for every. I think we can see it here. The project template, the Scrum meeting, first week, and as you can see, first participant, what is his role, and the 3 questions. So this has to be filled by everyone, I think. I made it as a template for you, and I don't know why people do not understand that this as a whole should be replaced by real values. And I said before, I don't know why, but some of you just leave these angle brackets in place and write data inside. Why? Remove the whole thing and write values, please. Okay? You got lost. As you can see here, do not leave these brackets and write whatever you'd like here. No. Remove the whole thing. Just remove that and write down the answer. Write down the answer here. Okay? And that example applies to everywhere. You see these angle brackets. Remove the angle brackets and write the real values or whatever it is here. Okay? It should be. Nonetheless, some of you do not understand that. So I have to comment. I have to say that out loud. Please do that. Okay? Not in that part of the OneNote only, in everywhere. Everywhere. Please. Okay? And until now, not every one of you have finished the notes that you should be finishing. I think here in project notes, I'll try to open it up and see it for myself. But I think, no, they did not put all things that should be done. And I can review all of them quickly. By the way, that project, I think it should change the name to the real name. Okay? I have no project called Alimni. I think it's probably virtual reality. Something like that. As I told you before, do not name the projects after the, I think that has been already done. Do not name it after the name that you have for your own people. No, I need the name of the project itself. Okay? Are we clear here? I think we are. Yes, they have done here they have done a good job. They have the data. Well, project URLs, you're gonna have a see here. I think they are almost good here. Yes, they're working fine. But I think for attendance, I'd like just to show any example of how things are now. I'm not always, and I don't think it's a big deal. It's not a big deal. Information is the important part here, not the titles. Okay. I know you may want to change it, but it's not feasible. Although there are other ways. I will try to discuss that with you later on. As you can see here, it's empty. They did not post the data they should be, unfortunately. And as you can see, it's, I don't know why does it look like that here? I think it's either a problem. As you can see, no, they did not post the URL that they should be. Okay, so they should fix all that. Okay, as you can see here. I think we have time. I can tell you how to try to fix that naming problem. Okay. Okay, I will try to tell here how that could go. project notes. That's the URL. If you try to open it in a website, oh, here's the Scrum body of knowledge. As you can see, it's it's very big. It's 300 pages, and it's full of everything you'd like to learn about Scrum. It's very, very detailed. If you have an Arabic translation of it, it'll be just perfect. But as you can see, it tells about everything you'd like to know about Scrum. So it's a great source.
Where can I find this link?
Here, the notes, of course. In Scrum and in Scrum Book of Knowledge. It gathers everything, Scrum here, for now. If you'd like to add something, just do it here in the collaboration space and I'll take it from you. As you can see, someone has just, I don't know, what did that? I'll delete it, sorry, I'll just delete it. It's useless. They did not post anything that has any meaning. Or not. I think I know what that is. It happened because of these tabs. When I add a tab of them, they just get added there. Match the names. Announcements got there. Video notes got there. Also the Scrum. So that's my doing, not your doing. But it's not important. Okay? The what? All of you can write notes here. Yes. Why? We have a content part which is mine, no one can edit, and these are the parts for you to edit. Can you see the difference here? I'm trying to protect my work just against malicious or non-intended usage. Many of you may just unintentionally would delete something. So I'm trying to protect these sections from being gone for good. Right?
How can I access this?
It's simple. Here from your, I think every one of you can access this, right? So in general, you get to the class notebook and you'll find the things I've talked to you about before. It will open up and you'll see it for yourself. Just in a minute. And I think it's important that you know how to do that. I need all of you to have that spirit of collaboration. We should help each other. Okay? As we said before, help me to help you. Okay? Help me to help you. Right? It's a phrase that appeared in some movie or sitcom before and I liked it. It kind of touched me, you know? Help me to help you. So it's going to be open in just a minute. Alright? You would open that up here. You have the collaboration space. I think it's going to be open in a minute. And of course, you will not see all these names, just yours. If you do not like working in here, in that software, you can open it either online on a website, different tab if you'd like. Just concentrate on or on OneNote itself as a software on your PC. Or Mac, by the way, because this software is just available for Mac too. So you have here collaboration space. You can get into Scrum. You can see the pages that I've shown you. You can add, delete, do whatever you'd like, but please do not delete. Just add and improve upon what others have done. Okay? Alright. As you can see, I do include what other people have done before, just for the benefit of everyone. Alright. It will open up. It will just take its time, so it's not important that we see that now. Let's continue our work here. The questions, I think we have seen the questions. We're clear here. Let's get going. So in context, we have seen the, to be back to the context, we have seen the sprint planning meeting, right? Then the daily Scrum meeting, after seeing the sprint itself. So what's next? What's next is the daily Scrum, the specifications of what should happen. It's not a problem solving session. It's just to present what happened and to let the Scrum Master know what the problems are, but he's not gonna solve it in that meeting. You should know about them, then solve them later on. Okay? One. Two, it's not a way of collecting information about who is behind schedule. It's not a way to punish people. Just see how things are going in a friendly way. Should be. As we said before, there are values that should be maintained here. One of them is respect. What if something happened? Not just because you're lazy. No. There's no place for lazy people there. Right? One of the values there was commitment. Be committed. And you get paid for it, so you should not be lazy. Right? Of course, if they find that something is wrong and you're not committed enough, they can do whatever they want. But if you're committed, as the values would say, then there's going to be no problems. Right? I think naturally you would be committed to some idea that you would be interested in. Okay? In your project for now, and I hope in your project, in your work later on. Okay? So that's point 2. Point 3 here is that meeting should be a way to make commitments to each other in the Scrum meeting, to Scrum Master. Right? Yes, it's a renewing. It's a renewing of commitments. Okay? Every day. We say, I should have done that, I had a problem, I'm going to do it today or tomorrow, and I hope there are going to be no problems at all. So it should be a way of renewing these commitments. Okay? Another point, or the last point here, is just it's a good way for the Scrum Master to track what's going on. Okay? Every day, to see how the progress is going. Are we going to be late or not? And what can I do to make things easier for people? As you may remember, that's the main rule of the Scrum Master. The main rule here. Okay? That's how things should be in a daily Scrum. Then at the end of the sprint review meeting, should be held at the end of the sprint. Business functionality should be demonstrated or shown to the product owner, of course. Should show him what has been done in that almost 2 to 4 weeks. Should be informal, and not everyone should be there. Subset of the team, or even the Scrum Master, should be there just to show him what has happened. Work should not be interrupted. Okay? Well, whatever form we would like, but as I do recall here that they try to make face-to-face time more. So it's possible that they would show him face-to-face, or if you'd like not to interrupt work, it can be online. And it's after you finish the sprint, there should be another meeting that it was not mentioned here, which is called what? Retrospective meeting. Retrospective meeting should be a meeting between the Scrum team itself and the Scrum Master to just review what they have done, to learn from the mistakes or problems, just to avoid them in the next sprint. And that meeting should be just before the next sprint planning. Okay? So sprint then a new sprint. And I think that image would just clarify my point here. As you can see, review, retrospective, then planning. Okay? And please try not to merge these 3 meetings into one. No. Keep them separate. Okay? Keep them separate. To just fulfill the goal of each meeting. Right? Comment. What? I think yes, it's not just about the product, it's about, humanity here. We're trying to make things humane in a way here. We have values, we have things that we should be doing in software, in my opinion, others do their job very well. Helps improving society in general. Yes, in computer itself. It's very important for you to use such a method. And as I do recall, most of the software developers use Scrum. As I told you, my colleague, the one that was graduated with me, tells me that yes, until now, most people are using Scrum in their jobs. And until now, I just called him about a week ago or something, and they told me that they still do that. Okay. 10 minutes, so I don't think I have time for any votes. Continue in English or Arabic? It doesn't matter now. It's the end. Anyway, sprint review meeting. We have Scrum artifacts. We have talked about the product backlog about a minute, yes, and the sprint backlog, which is a subset of the product backlog. The problem here is, what are the items that should be included in the product backlog? How would we include them, right? So I'll try to sum that up for you as much as I can. Product backlog is the requirements for the system expressed as a prioritized list of backlog items. Okay? Who would probably make that list? It's managed and owned by the product owner. The product owner should say what needs to be done in general. Or it can be pointed out as story points, and you would convert these story points into real backlog items. Okay, as I told you before too. And it's probably done in the sprint planning meeting, of course. Can be changed and reprioritized before each planning meeting. That's PM planning meeting, of course. Okay. The problem here is the estimation of the product backlog items. These items, how can we do them? And especially that problem of the time estimation. How can I say that this item will take that period or that effort? As you can see, there are a number of units of complexity. That number that you're going to assign to each item can be one of these. Size category, story points, which is the importance that that needs to be done. Work days or work hours, how long it's going to take. And for example, for probably most of the time, if you are very expert, you can say how long it's going to take in hours, but probably you're not. So probably it's going to be a larger margin here, which was work days, how many days that feature is going to take. And because you're just here training, try to learn something, add a day or two, or add some margin for yourself to learn and test these probably new methodologies or new techniques you're going to use to do your job. Add more time than you'd expect. If you expect 5, make them 8.
I think the master of the project is responsible for the
Probably yes.
the time of the task.
Probably yes. That here, but I was just saying, in a project like yours, here, you're all students. You don't have that much experience. So how are you going to make it? And even if you do, and for me, probably I try to use some new technologies as I do some new jobs. So I should give myself some more space to try and experiment these new methodologies. Okay? So still, yes, when I have gained more experience by the time, yes. And as you can see, there are 2 methods of estimation. Expert review, of course, if you have an expert that knows how things go, so he can do that for you, or he can tell you if your estimation is right or wrong. Okay, as a review, of course, not to build it from scratch. Another way is creating a work breakdown structure, just to analyze each task and see how long it's going to take for the small parts. Then you would add them up to give you an overall estimation of that point. And that image would just show you how these things go. For a bicycle to be built, you need these 7 points: the frame set, the crank set, the wheels, the braking system, the shifting system, integration of all these things together, then the project management. And as you can see, in each point they have sub-points that they get estimated. But as you can see, there are small differences on some of the numbers, which is not that realistically done. As you can see here, 2 or 3, there is no big difference here. Make them all 3, for example. For these points to be realistic, my partner or my colleague told me that they probably follow the, what they call, Fibonacci series. Do you remember the Fibonacci series? It's composed of a number which is the sum of the previous 2 numbers. You can see, as you can remember. I think it's called, let's see how it's done here. Fibonacci series. Fibonacci. Oh yeah, that's Fibonacci series. So that Fibonacci series would tell you 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. As you can see, there are differences between the numbers. They're not that close to each other, which is good. Why? Not to make that horrible decisions of 2 and 3, just 5, 8, and probably would start from that level, 3, 5, and on. We'd like numbers not to be too close to each other, not to confuse you which one to choose. So these large differences number is good. Okay. Numbers with large differences, as you can see. Here I don't think that they are using that series way, right? No, they're not from Fibonacci, no. But they show you the idea of just breaking down the big thing into small things and seeing and just adding them up into the item you'd like. Okay? So that's how it's being done. And just as I told you friends here that your colleagues too, and here I'll try to add in Scrum some examples or some realistic examples of that work breakdown structure. And as I told you, this week you should start doing your job. You should start the first sprint. And I shouldn't see that online. Okay? Maximum. On Friday, I should see that you have made a meeting and started doing that product backlog. Maximum. Yes, I should see that on your project here. Okay, in each team. Right? So you have been warned. Still Monday, you have plenty of time. I should see that soon enough. Okay? And of course, you should finish all the information that you should be in your class notebook, please. Or else. Another example, as you can see, it's much detailed for solving that some kind of work, but it does not have any weight. Not like the last example. Last example is much clearer, right? Okay, so product backlog is just a forecast. It's not exact, which means is you could add or subtract something or could have a bad estimation of some task. So it happens. It should not be a problem, right? It happens. A sprint backlog is just a subset of the product backlog items which define the work for a sprint. Only the team members can add or subtract items of a sprint backlog, and it should be updated every day to just show how things are going. Okay, so how would you create that online? Here in Bitbucket. No, not that one. That one, yeah. In that project, I made the boards. Here I have chosen the boards, and it was not. It did not have any boards, so I added one. I don't think here that he will show me how to do that from start. I think it has already been done. I'll try to see if I have another project that I can redo that. Like here. I hope that's gonna work. Yes, they have boards here. They have boards. And as you can see, they'll try to connect it to my Trello account. So if you do not have a Trello account, probably you're gonna have to create one. It seems like it has been done. As you can see, yes, it's gonna try to contact. I'm not the administrator here, so I cannot do it, unfortunately. But I am administrator here, so I could do it. That's bad. I could not redo it for you. Anyways, when you connect, you will do another board, and it should just look like that one, okay? Which is visible to all my team members. In any sprint, you would do the backlog. You can see, you can make that here. You can add items. You can say item 1 and add. As you can see, I have added already an item here, which is called database design. When I click on it, it's detailed here. You can make something like called subtasks, or you can make many checklists here, which would say exactly what should be done in order to, you know, do that task itself.
It's another website.
Yes. Yes. But it's still in the same project. Yes. It's not the same all over the place. It's just an option. I'll let you comment, but just after I finish. There are some important points here. One of them is, you can see here who is responsible for that point. You can assign members here, or using the power-ups from Bitbucket, which would, for example, I would do that design, then upload that design to my repository here as a SQL file, for example. Then I would say that this upload that has been done is assigned to that item, which is why we have here Bitbucket. You can attach a recent commit, some code that has been uploaded. You can attach that to that item, which would say, hey, I fulfilled the task you asked me to. Okay, so that's a way of doing it here. Another thing that would not require you to make another account or sign up for another account is something we call Planner. Where is that? In Scrum here, I think I made a channel. I made a tab for it. It seemed that software is hanging at the proper time. Hey. Oh, please, man. I think it's okay. It works here now. I added a new tab. It's Planner. After I added it, here we go. I called it test board. You can call it whatever you would like, even after you have done it. From that arrow, rename and name it whatever you would like. Okay. It will show up in a minute, and it's almost the same as Trello. It has these columns, and you can make cards, as you can see here. We have only one column to do. We can make other columns if you'd like. It's no big issue. And then we would add a task, and you say when should it be done, and you can say who is going to do this. One of your teammates, of course. Then you'd add a task. If you'd like not to assign it to someone, you can do that too. You'll just make these tasks or these items, if you'd like them to be product backlog items, and not to assign them to anyone till you know exactly what you're going to do. Okay? And you can edit them. You can add checklists, just like the one we had with the other one. And you can see here we can add labels that would say if that item is very important or not important enough. These are the prioritization, as you can see. You can assign priorities here. And you can report progress if it has not started, or it's in progress, or has been completed. You can also add some kind of description to the task itself to detail what we need here. Okay? And you can add comments too. As you can see, it's good, but it's not, unfortunately, as powerful as Trello. And from a professional point of view, most professionals use Trello. Why? Because it's easy, it's free. As you can see, Bitbucket has connected itself to Trello. Not that only. Here, you can add a tab of Trello as well. Can you see? You can connect to Trello directly into the project, please do that. Can connect the GitHub directly to the channel, please do that too. Okay? And Bitbucket too. It's full of options, man. It's very good for our case here. Yes, but it's fun. You're learning new things here, right? Please try not to think of that as an obligation rather than you're doing something new here. Try to learn from it. Okay? And it's for free. I'm not costing you anything but just a little bit of work and time. No money. Okay? And when you get to work, I think you're gonna thank me. Please, if any of you would work with something like that, give me a feedback if it's useful or not. I don't know. I'm just asking people outside and they're telling me that's what's happening. So I'm trying to tell you that. Okay? Yes, spread the good word. Spread the good word. Anyways, I think we are almost done here. The sprint backlog should not be more than 300 tasks on the list, as you can see. Just a way to organize your work here, just before we finish up things. As you can see, you can make the whole product backlog in one column. Yes, you can make that. Then the first sprint would have a new list. The second sprint, a new list, and so on. You can do something else here. You can say that's what needs to be done is a sprint, and what has been done already in the sprint. So you can, for every sprint, you have two columns: what needs to be done and has been already done. So what can you do to just make things, less clunky? If you understand what I mean. What if these lists are too many and that board is too big? What can I do? For the list that has already been done and it's finished, you can archive it here. You can archive it just to hide it, put it away. Okay. And I think you can, I think, here see the hidden archived items. Yes, you can look at them up if you'd like later on. So it's not going to be a problem. Okay. I don't know if that's there in tasks. I don't think they have something like that here. No. I don't think they do. Alright? As I told you before, Trello is much, much more powerful. It's much powerful, I think. Okay? Sorry if I talk too much, but I'd like things to be as clear as possible. Okay. Okay, what you need this week is you need to make the sprint meeting. Okay, the sprint meeting in which you determine what you would like. I'm sorry. The first one is the whole product backlog. It should be the kick. What was it called? Here we go. Sprint review. Yeah, that one. The pre-project or kickoff meeting that should be done or redone, if you'd like, just to determine what you need to do in the whole project. That's the first thing that should be done. Whatever you'd like. I don't impose you have to meet, but I need some kind of a statement of what happened. A statement of what happened should be there. Okay? That's for one. So that meeting should be done or redone if you'd like, and just tell me what happened there. If you'd like to meet online and just talk or write down what happened, I'll be just happier. If it cannot be done, no problem there. In general, what you need to do and what are these backlog items in general. Okay, after you have determined the whole backlog, which is, I think it's going to take you a while, so please start as soon as possible just to finish that up. That meeting can be done in a day or 2 days if it's hard to finish it all in one day, I think. Of course, if you're dedicated, you can do that all in one day, but if you're not, which is the case here, you may do that in 2 days or something. Okay? So that's number one. Is that clear now? You have to list these items in one of the ways, either in Trello directly, away from any other projects, away from Bitbucket. If you'd like it to be included in Bitbucket, it's okay. If you'd like to make it in Planner, it's okay. Whatever the way, but please include that in your project's website or the project team, that part in Teams, in a way or another. You are free, but just include it. In any way, I should just get into your project and I have to see that there is their product backlog. I should see that. Okay? That clear? So these are the very important tasks that should be done. After you make that, of course, there will be the sprint itself. You have to determine which, item from the backlog that's going to be done in that sprint. You have to determine how long that sprint is going to take and what are the goals of that sprint. Of course, at least you have to make one sprint during that semester. At least one sprint. If you can make more, that's going to be fine. Please tell me how the sprints are going to be in here. As you can see in summary, there's a sprint timetable. As I told you, sprint number 1, number 2, number 3. Tell me when it's going to start, when it's going to end. Is it going to be the last sprint in this term? I think it's clear now, right?
We will put this on
In every one of you have that project summary and has this page. Please just list the days, the dates. Okay? And by the way, not all of you have done that part right. Some of you have left that column empty. I don't know why. Some of you did not write the name in Arabic, which is very clear. Arabic. Arabic. The name here should be in Arabic, not in anything else. Nonetheless, some of you have written that in English. No, I need it to be in Arabic. To compare the project participants.
which one
That. Yeah, Arabic mandatory.
name?
Yes, your Arabic name.
My name.
Yep. I need it just to be capable of reviewing people and just comparing them to my registry. To easily compare them to what I have. Okay? Alright, now what, I think we're almost done here. I just, back to the product backlog, sprint backlog. I was just going to talk about the burn down charts. Well, I think you're almost full, but I'll just point that out and we'll start with that next week. Okay? The burn down chart is just a chart here. As you can see, it just tells how long you have before you can finish. As you can see also, when I told you that the items should have some kind of weight, how long that item should take to get finished, right? And when you have that, you can make a chart that will tell how long you have before you have no work at all, which means that you have done the job you need to do, right? Right?
That's what we're gonna go over next session.
Yes. I'm just pointing that out quickly. And just to be in the clear too, that's why some people do not like Trello, because it doesn't have a clear place to have the weight. Okay? And that they have to build that burn down chart themselves. And there are software that would help you do that, like Microsoft Project, by the way. Microsoft Project have that functionality. You can add items with weights already in the software itself, and then it would deduce these charts automatically. You have to build them yourself. Okay? Still, it's your choice here. It's your choice here. And I think one of the sections, probably the next or the one next to it, after that I mean, that will show how that is being done in Microsoft projects. Right? Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you for listening, and please, if you have any comments, just post them here. Alright, and the general overview if you'd like in the Scrum section. Okay, and goodbye everyone.